Update on Tony Hicks. He was x-rayed today and got some bad news. We thought he'd be back Monday, but he's going to be out another 2 weeks. So we're a little disappointed in that news. And also, VJ King will not play in this game with a thigh bruise. So we're out 4 scholarships again. So Jay Henderson's going to have to step up for this game. He hasn't played much this season, but hopefully he will. Can I get you some water, please? Yes. Well, we're down small forward. We're not down a guard. Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think he's improved his quickness with weight loss. I think he's stronger, quicker, passing the ball better, and I think even his free throw shooting, they didn't go in the last game, but they looked like they were around the rim, in and out. He's doing that better as well.
You don't have a midweek game necessarily. What does that change in terms of practicing, what you can do?
It doesn't. We've been going through this cycle now for some time. It doesn't change our routine at all. We still have to take 1 day off per week. Thanks, Ken. Fiji. Only the good stuff, McKinney.
In light of, I guess, this latest news, and you look at how your team got to this last stretch, and how encouraged does that make you, for this next stretch?
Well, I think we're confident because of what we've been through. But this is a team, I believe we put them to the line 36 or 38 times last year. So that's the thing that concerns you the most, is that they look to draw fouls almost on every play. And when you're down 4 scholarships, that concerns you. So everybody has to be ready to contribute in this game.
How is your relationship evolving?
We've been friends for a long time.
How often do you guys talk?
We text more than talk, because we're both tied up into the season.
And is it, when you're actually about to go up against somebody with them again, do you stop talking as much, or is it just?
No, the game takes place between the lines, and the social life is away from the lines. I think in this game, you talk more to your assistant coaches, who are head coaches, than your friends in the business.
We talked about Nick Pitino and Ryan. How did that come about? Was it in a general conversation, or he actually called and said?
He called and said there's a guy from his area, and we went down to see him play. I liked him. I wanted to see him again, though.
You believe by now?
Oh yeah, you remember Vital was a coach. Was a championship high school coach. Built Detroit, which, as you know how tough it is. He built it with 3 NBA players on his roster, and then he went to the pros and coached the Pistons. So it's tough for guys as young as you to remember his coaching days.
How different is Tech with that part?
Well, they become better outside shooting. They lose a little rebounding in certain areas, but they're better in some areas and not as good in others. Tough team. They've had some great games. They've beaten Virginia, Duke. They were down late in the Pittsburgh game, came back in a hard-fought game and won it at Pitt. Playing good basketball right now. They're an NCAA team right now. They're 18-7. They're going to get a bid. You look at the RPI still means quite a bit, even though there are other barometers right now, and I believe they're in the late 20s. 30, yep. So if you're in your 40 and below, you got a good shot of making the tournament. You know, my son Richard is 23 and 23 or something like that. So that's, he's played a tough schedule, and you look at that, the strength of schedule is very important. Yeah.
See Indiana?
I did, on TV, on TV. Yeah. I'm gonna go to the Michigan game.
When are they
They
play?
play Sunday, a day off. He's had, I think, 5 overtime games, and his team always brings it down to the last minute. Unfortunately, people who die and watch every possession.
Michigan's on a little roll.
Yeah, they're playing good basketball. But, you know, this time of season, every single game means something to somebody. I mean, if we were playing Boston College right now, who's going through a rebuilding process, it wouldn't mean as much to them. But right now, every team we play, it means something significant left in this season. And then we're all looking forward, obviously, to the ACC tournament.
You mentioned a few times about that one, and I don't know if you guys had seriously moved forward with why we can't policy soon, but how do you put guys now to avoid that?
Well, you got to play good help defense, and we get beat a lot on straight. That's what concerns me so much about this game, because they paint touch so much. We get beat a lot on straight line drives, and it's not just Quentin or just David or just Ryan. It's the whole team. So it's something that we've worked very, very hard on in helping, and we're getting better at it. A couple plays in the game where Jalen slapped the ball away, and where Ray slapped the ball away, and that's the type of help besides shot blocking that you need. Now, you may give up 1 or 2 more threes per game than you want to, but it has to be to stay out of foul trouble, especially in this game. In this game, we got to be very careful because we're down in numbers.
Coach mentioned, overtime just a minute ago, just had the overtime in Syracuse. I think it's probably that's an important skill for your team to have. Take the game to the end of the game, whether you win it there or not, or the overtime. That's just getting good at it, having confidence.
What's the question?
The question is, I wonder if you talk about that and your players.
Well, the thing that was interesting about that basketball game, and oftentimes when you're on the road, it doesn't work that way. Here, you're up 7, and your best offensive player goes out of the game, and it goes to overtime. Most of the time, the road team does not win that game. That was what Ryan McMahon gave us on the big lift, and it was quite special to still win that game after blowing the lead.
You also changed personnel, I think, and wanting foul shooters in there.
Yep.
Certain guys that you want to have.
Yeah, with our team, at times, you know, you don't know, like you would think that David Levitch would be a good free throw shooter, but then when you look at the percentages, it's not necessarily true. You know, it's sometimes, you know, Dang Adele's a good free throw shooter statistically and missed 2 crucial ones, you know, so you just don't know. Then Honest, you know, shoots an air ball and comes back and makes 2 crucial ones. With our basketball team, it's tough to gauge that.
You just keep your fingers crossed.
You just pray a lot.
You said after the Miami game that Jalen Johnson made you much better for one middle play.
And Syracuse, in both situations. You know, the other night in that Indiana game, Minnesota, you know, it's something that you may report on for about that night, but nobody remembers. But in the game, Curry plays unbelievable defense in the post and gets a steal for his team, and then goes down the other end, and one of the players takes a bad shot in the game, and he keeps it alive and tips it to the player that took the bad shot. He lays up and puts it in. And that's what Jalen does for us. He makes the plays that don't necessarily show up. So when the game ends, everybody's talking about Akeem making that layup at the end, or about the great game that their backcourt player had and scoring 20-some-odd points, or the small forward having 17 at the half. But it's Curry that won the game for them with those 2 crucial plays. Well, both the Miami game as well as the Syracuse game, it was Jalen keeping the ball alive on the glass that was a vital part of that, us winning that game.
You must have a good feel for that.
He does. He's a relentless rebounder to the glass. When Virginia kept him off the glass, they were doing a great job of blocking out because he's tough to keep. He just kills Ray every single day on the glass. And it makes Ray a much better basketball player because Ray has to try really, really hard to block out because Jalen's relentless on the glass, so it's making Ray better.
How did you, going back in history a little bit, how did you, when the 3-point line came, how did you kind of arrive at the conclusion that you needed to?
Well, it was my second year at Providence, and we went to the NIT. They won like 11 games prior to that, and for 7 straight years they were the doormat of the Big East, tied with Seton Hall in a few years. And I used the press as somewhat of a gimmick, but we weren't very athletic, so I needed another good gimmick to use to try and stay in ball games. When the 3-point line came in, I said, okay, this is a time where we can use this, and we really worked hard in individual instruction on getting guys to shoot the threes and how we would get the shots. And it was actually the Russians, along with Donald Trump's suggestion, that I used to use the 3-point shot. He called me up and said, go to the Russians to use that 3. But actually, we were playing the Russians, and I thought if we could take 10 to 15 threes per game, we could lead the country in threes. Obviously, international basketball is different. So at the end of the game, we wound up taking 20. The Russians took almost 30, and I realized my number was too low. So I increased it to, we want to take anywhere from 18 to 25 threes per game. And we led the country making 7+ threes per game. And it was the Russians. If we don't play them that year, I'm not sure we lead the country. I'm not sure we're a Final Four team. So like Donald, we owe a great deal to the Russians. I'm only kidding, Mr. President. It's no SNL skit. It's just a joke, just a joke. Don't take it out on me.
But it translated then.
Yeah, it did. It taught me a lot. I mean, we could have played any foreign team, and they would have taught me that the way the 3-point line used it. It also taught me a lot the way they passed into the 3. We were just using it as a dribble drive, but they used it in their half-court offense. They used it on offensive rebounding. So it also taught me a lot of how to use the 3. Yes.
And that was before the Final Four season? Right?
Yes, it was before the line was put into effect in a real game.
Must have been cool that game changes.
Well, here's the cool thing about it. First 4 out of 5 games that year, it was Rolly Massimino with Villanova, John Thompson with Georgetown, Louis Carnesecca at St. John's, and one other coach. I don't think those 4 teams, if I can recall, took more than 4 3. They were dead against the line. They didn't want any part of it. 3 out of 4 games, they didn't make a 3, and they didn't shoot more than 4 in the game. So there were coaches that were holding out against it, didn't believe in it. And that's why we got to jump on it. We were running our break to the line. Every offensive rebound, we throw it out. We were coming off the high pick and roll and dishing. We ran everything to the line because we, at that point, didn't have as much talent, and we used it and carried us to a Final Four when we really got proficient at it.
Hey, high school, grade school kids practice the 3,
Yep.
shoot it all the time, and everybody has it. It must have changed.
Well, look at what it's doing to the pros. Look at the Warriors. Warriors have changed the culture of professional basketball by going small and by shooting that many threes. I mean, we did it with, we just have one of our Knick teams being celebrated at the Garden, the Bombinos, and they're being celebrated because they were one of the early 3-point shooting teams in the league.
How did that translate to
Well, again, I used the same strategy of Providence. This was right after that I became the head coach of the Knicks. It was the same thing. We didn't have as much talent. And they won 23, 24, I think 23 games 3 years in a row. We went 38 and 52, and the 3-point line was a big factor in that. And, guys like Trent Tucker and Gerald Wilkins and even Mark Jackson became Rod Strickland I allowed, who wasn't a 3-point shooter. So you have to be, son. Got to get it going. He texted me the other day when they were getting ready for the reunion. He says, thanks for making me a 3-point shooter.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.